Hi, I'm Bob Lowery, and today I'm going to show you how to saddle a horse and warm it up properly. First things first, when you start to saddle your horse, you're going to brush them and comb them. This is a brush that I use. It just helps lay the hair down flat. This is a curry comb. Curry combs are used to help separate the hair, and if they have any mud caked in them, you can get it out really easy. You start with your brush. You go with the hair. Just help it lay down. Use your curry comb, kind of do the same thing. Just helps separate the hair. In the long run, it'll actually help them stay cooler. Just like right here on her hock, see she's got some mud caked in there. You just come in there with your curry comb, and you can knock that loose. Just brush it on off. You're going to go over her entire body like that. Make sure all her hair is around the same way. You do that, it's going to make you look like a better horseman around other people. Fly spray. Just help keep flies off of them while you're riding. That way, one, she's not irritated with flies and stomping around and squatting her tail. Two, it keeps the flies off of you. You just go all over her body. They don't mind it. Well, it's kind of good if you ask me. From there, we'll start putting a regular horse blanket on them. Not real thick, but it provides a lot of protection for them over their back and over their leathers. Initially, you want to saddle and put blankets on and get on, all from the left side of the horse. You put your blanket on there, make sure it's square all over. You want the front of your blanket come down to the middle of their withers. That's where the saddle's going to be setting, all your pressure's going to be right here. And you just want them to stay up there, just square and clean and nice. After you put your blanket on, you go to the saddle pad. Looks a lot like a saddle blanket, but it's a lot thicker through here. A lot of them are made of wool, felt, different kinds of fibers and stuff. So just thick, more protection for the horse's back. Help keep the saddle on. Make sure everything's set square on them. That way they're not hurting. Doesn't pinch anywhere on them. Make sure all your blankets are square and straight. Coming down over the weather. Square on their backside. You get your saddle. This is called a breast collar. This is what's going to help your saddle from sliding back on your horse. You'll have a front cinch and back girt. You'll come to the left side, just like you put your blankets on. A lot of horses, especially young horses, you just kind of want to ease it up on them first few times. But like this mare, she's an older mare. She's had this done millions of times. You know, she's used to it. So you can just kind of sling it up on them. Make sure the front of your saddle is sitting over the withers. The bars of the saddle are real even, coming down. Make sure nothing's, too twisted where your saddle's at. If you don't see, like on this side, it's a little too far forward on this side, which means my saddle's a little bit crooked. What you'll do is you'll just adjust it on back, get it square down her withers, everything. Bring your breast collar on over, make sure it hangs right. Unbuckle your back girt, your front cinch. I have them hanging like that, so that especially whenever I unsaddle, she might be sweaty. I can turn them upside down and they'll air out and dry out. Get you in good condition. First things first, you come over to the left side. You always start with your front cinch when saddling a horse. Put that on over. This is what mainly keeps your saddle on. This is where all your pressure comes from, so it's going to keep your saddle down. And this is what holds your saddle on more than anything. We'll just run it through. Make sure this is called a latigo. Make sure it's flat with your body. That way there's no pinch in there. You got to make sure everything on the other side is adjusted right. So all your cinch and your girt, you want them to come up to about mid-gut. Kind of snug that up when you come up underneath her. Grab your breast collar. A lot of people like to run it through this little ring up here. Some saddles don't even have that. This is actually the first saddle I've ever owned that has that on there. So I usually just run it through the D-ring. You'll snug that up on there. Not too tight, you know, you want it to be kind of loose, but mainly you want it to come over the point of her shoulder, square on both sides, and that's what's going to keep your saddle from sliding back. Say when, you know, if you rope something and you dally off and you're pulling, you know, you just kind of pull your front cinch pretty tight. You don't want it too tight that it cuts her or anything, or gets in there and pinches. You want it to be able to put your hand back in there. Especially whenever you tighten these up, your horse, she takes a breath, and she's not really she's kind of holding her breath right now. So, and that's where the warming up process comes in. You'll go warm them up and get them to breathing again, and this will actually loosen up on you, and you'll have to go back and tighten it back up. Then we'll go ahead and cinch up our back girt. Just like the front girt, you want it to, you know, come snug. You can actually leave it fairly loose right now. Young horses, and she's not young, I could tighten this up more if I wanted to, but you just leave that kind of loose right now. Some horses might hump up on you. You don't want it to get too far back in your flank right here. That's gonna conflict with her and make her sometimes want to buck. So you just want to have it, you know, about mid-gut right here. This is what's going to keep the back of your saddle down. Make sure you come up in here and put the breast collar to the front of your front cinch. And that's really what keeps the saddle from sliding back. The next step into getting your horse ready is you're going to want to put some protective boots on them. These are boots like this are called bell boots. This goes on the bottom of the foot into the back. Right here. You bring it over the back of the foot. Say if they overstride, they might step on their front foot, and that's going to help protect that foot where she won't hurt herself, cause some problems. This boot right here is a splint boot. It's just, you know, you heard of basketball players and stuff wearing splint boots or splints around their ankles and stuff to protect their ankles from twisting their ankles. That's practically exactly what this is. You know, it has a little pad right here that goes on the inside to protect their inner part of their leg. Comes around their ankle. And you just kind of snug that up. You don't want it too tight that you can cut the circulation off, but you want it to be fairly tight. Come on around, tighten those up, come up underneath your ankle. Just make sure that's pretty tight, square on their foot. And I like to always put my bell boots on before I put my splint boots on. That way there's no conflicting problems there and you don't get them up underneath one another. It just keeps everything lined out real nice. It goes on both front feet. And I don't have any for this horse. They'll have what are called skid boots, and they're a lot like when you're putting a bit on the noseband and stuff. You want to just to kind of be safe. Some horses might sit back on you. You'll take your halter. You want to come up over their neck. Just kind of tie that back in case. Sometimes you got ones that'll run off. This mare ain't gonna do much. She's pretty broke and gentle. You always start with putting your noseband over. Always come up over your right ear first. That lets you, that way you know you get it over that ear every time. Then you'll go in and you'll put your bit on just like your noseband. You want to come up between their ears like this and grab it. Make sure this is called the curb chain. This is what helps a horse stop. You'll want to come up, make sure and get that under their chin. It runs right through here, doesn't hurt them. You come up with your bit, put it at their mouth, take your thumb, slip it in the side of their mouth, kind of towards the top of it, pull your bit up on over, make sure you get that over there, get her ears just right, that bit actually sits on top of your top of her tongue. Doesn't hurt them, just gives them, you know, it would actually hurt them more if the bit were to get underneath their tongue. You keep it over their tongue because that's where all your pressure is and where all your working momentum is coming from, and that's where your bit really takes control. You take your tie down, go down between her front legs, and clip it to the front of your cinch, and there you're ready to get on. Just take your reins, bring them up over her neck, flip it back to the other side of your bit. Now this horse is ready to get on and warm up. Kind of go back, make sure everything's good. Not stuck. The saddle will slide off to the side, and you don't want that. Some horses will cause a problem. Oh, she don't always like to stand still, but she's all right. Like in basketball or any other sport, you gotta warm up.
Alright, right here, we're fixing to start warming up our horse. We're just going to take a few steps back, kind of make sure you got her in your hand, you can feel her. She's feeling alright. We're going to go in, start walking into the left lead right here. Excuse me. Being in the left lead just means she's going to be going to the left. We're going to kick up into a long trot. You'll do that for a few circles. Ask her to stop. Take a few steps back. You'll roll back to the right. Take a few steps, and you'll just go ahead and kick her on up into a long trot into the right lead, which means she's going in a right circle. Big trick here is you don't ask your horse to never stop in the same spot when you're doing a circle on them. Stop, back up. Roll to your right. You'll trot for a few strides. Kick back up into a lope. You'll lope into the left lead. You'll lope a few circles on them. The whole warming up process is just to mostly get the buck out of them. If they are going to buck for you, they do it then, and just to make sure that they ain't hurting on any of their legs and no limp in them. Horses are just like any other athlete. You want to warm them up before you go perform on them. So that's the big reason as to why we warm our horses up before, especially with this Mary. She's a roping horse, so we make sure and warm our horses up, make sure they're all feeling good. You'll ask her to stop. I always make them stop and roll back to the other lead, and you'll open the right lead right there.
Make sure I can hear this mare. She's gone back to breathing again, so I know my saddle's actually loosened up a little bit.
We talked about earlier in the video about a horse taking a breath. When you cinch them up tight, warming them up really get them back to breathing right again. You know, it'll also, your saddle will loosen up when they're finally getting closer to being warm. And you'll see here in a second that I think she's getting about right. I'll go ahead and step off and tighten my saddle back up. She ought to be ready to go. After I lope